When it is happening. All right, people, how's everybody doing today? Hope you're having a great day on this Saturday afternoon. It's going to be awesome. Wait, is my, yeah, we're good. I didn't know if my mic was on right there. We got our man, the myth, the legend, all the way from across the pond, all the way in the UK. We got James Domenico grabbing. Now, what the hell? What's going on? Why did The size of my window just changed, James. Let me fix that real quick. How you doing, James? Welcome. Welcome. What's going on?
I
What's
do
new?
I do love tech issues, man. Tech issues is my favorite thing.
There we go.
Getting my ear chewed off by D-Wagon tech issues.
Yeah,
That's my
yeah,
favorite thing.
yeah, yeah.
That's all the fun of the fair, mate. Nah, it's all good, man. It's all good. Back to back, we're going, bringing it to the masses. Don't you wish your boyfriend was as hot as me? Of course you do.
There we go.
Let's get
Yeah,
cracking.
we got it all fixed. So we're good on that one. What's going on, James? How's it going over there in the UK? We finally had a little bit of a weather break. It's been hot as hell. I'm talking 109, 110 over here in the desert. I was sweating my balls off last night. You know, I thought about shaving my mustache like you, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it, James. How's the weather where you're at? Is it finally sunny in the
It's
UK?
go It is gorgeous, and it's going to be gorgeous until Tuesday. And Tuesday, obviously, I'm going out to get my tattoo, so I'll be going to Hailsham, and it'll be raining cats and dogs, and I'll be in agony and looking like a drowned rat. So that'll be fun. But it's like it's just my luck. It's like I tell you, I could walk outside, right, and I tread in a pile of shit lately. I was talking to you before we got off stream, right, and I'm like, right, I'm going to go down to the field today. It's a lovely day. I'm going to plan out my run because what I do is I always plan out my run because when you start getting into the bushes, when you start getting into the forests, you can get fucking lost. So I'm going to plot my way back and I'm going to work backwards and I'm going to sort my run out. So I'm minding my own business, got my phone out, doing a few vids. And then all of a sudden, I feel something on my foot and I kick this fucking badger carcass, right?
Like a dead, like
Because,
a
yeah, there's
dead badger?
a dead badger, you get dead badgers, dead deers. I kick this fucking badger carcass, right? And all these fucking flies just fucking jump up to my face, right? And look,
Oh,
they taken a huge chunk out of it. This little plaster don't even I don't know if you see on it, but when you take it off, it is the angriest, reddest fucking oh mate, I'll tell you, I had to when you have to put a pin in it. So I put a pin in it, right? And the fucking pus and blood that came out of it, mate. It was like I looked like the fucking elephant, man. I was like, how the fuck am I gonna stream? Because I look ridiculous. And I was like, hey,
bro,
shit.
that
I'm
sounds
just I'm
terrible.
just, I'm just gonna have to go, man. But that's the thing. I haven't been down there in 6 months, right? And you think about 6 months, you think autumn, winter, or you've got deer in there, you've got badger, you've got cattle, you've got everything. I mean, it's like you imagine the English countryside, right? It's like that. And this fucking you once you get in it, it's dense. So I'm trying to plan this run, and I don't pay attention to most things most of the time, as everyone will know. So I'm just walking around in my own world. I'm listening to a bit of Sabrina Salerno and Patsy Kenzie. I'm doing the aura and dancing around. The next thing I know, I've got this swarm of fucking
How
dirty flies all over
how
my
big are these
face.
flies? Are they small? Or are they like big flies?
They're like them horse flies, you know
Horse
what I mean?
flies.
They're like fucking huge, mate. They were all gnawing on this carcass, you know what I mean? And you kick it, when you kick something and disturb it, it just goes straight up and into your face, you know what I mean? And it was foul. It's like I go out and I run into a horde of gypsies. I go out and I run into a horde of fucking horseflies, man. I wish I could just go out and have a normal one, to be honest with you.
Well, I was gonna say the gypsies treated you better than the horse flies, man. What the hell?
I know, man. It's the thing about the countryside. The countryside's beautiful, but when you're like a townie like me, a bit of a chavvy townie, you're like a duck out of water most of the time. I mean, people around it, people were mugging me off the other day because I had me red tracksuit on, the Puma tracksuit. And they
Yeah.
were going, "Hey, mate, you look like a post box. You're all right, Wally." And I'm like, "Gee, have you?" In London, I want to give you the second look.
Yeah.
Everyone's got tracksuits on that look way more flashy than I've got. You know what I mean? They're all walking around in fucking velour and shit like that. The blacks and all that. And I'm like, round here, you stick out like a sore thumb. It's
Bro,
crazy. And
you
I don't know, because Puma's my favourite brand, right?
yeah.
But I was watching Mersh the other day and he alluded to the fact that Ralph wears Puma. He had the Puma t-shirt on and I
That's
felt
true.
fucking dirty. I
That's
felt
true.
dirty. Ralph's rocking Puma and I'm rocking Puma.
Bro, you can't get away from the trolls. Even in IRL, in real life, you still got the trolls. Hold on, let me jump down here to the chat real quick, then we'll come back and I want to talk a little bit about Ralph. That was a crazy stuff last night. Let me come down to the chat and say what's up to everybody. We got Seashell SoCal Pat. What is going on? Great to see you.
Boom.
We got
This
we got James grabbing in the chat, and he's also on stream. Shout out to you, James. What's going on? Good to see you, bro. We got Curly. A big shout out to Curly. Hope you're having a good time. DJ John, Miami John, our Hitman brother. He's out there. Shout out to you, John. Hoping you're
Collateral Part 2.
yeah. Hope you're healing up okay. Hope your back's a little bit better. Hope you maybe that nurse came by to give you a little special attention. Hope that happened, buddy. Shout out to everybody. Monk Fruit, hope you're having a good time out there, bro. I know you're probably doing your deliveries, making things happen, kicking some ass. We got Hillbilly Harry out there. Shout out to you and shout out to Jared. I hope he's doing well. Hope you're doing fantastic too, my brother. Hope you're kicking some ass. A little bit of a heat wave in Southern California, but I hope you're doing great. We got Draw Zombie. Woo! Let's fucking grow Draw Zombie. Good to see you, bro. A little Ric Flair hairstyle on that one. Put a little stink on it. We love to hear it. Now, did you see, James? Did you see this thing last night? I caught it with Merch. I was watching Merch stream snipe. MLC last night. They had Ralph. He was on there. Kiana was on there, and Scarlett was on there. Scarlett and Kiana were having a little bit of a beef about like. Scarlett thought Kiana was trying to take Ralph, trying to get her man. What do you think about that, James? Did you see any of that?
Well, I alluded to this yesterday, and I think everyone is swinging apart from me. Everyone's swinging from the rafters. You know, they're all swapping couples, swapping partners. Scarlett is like a drunk, a druggie, a paranoid. You know what I mean? She actually thinks that there is like women queuing around the block for Ethan Ralph. Now, I don't know how it is. I don't know if women are down bad in America, but I can't imagine a lot of them are signing up to live in an ant-ridden Mexican hovel to be abused by Ralph. You know what I mean? I can't imagine that is like the thrill of a lifetime for any woman who's watching this stream or fucking in the online space. I mean, the guy, I don't know. We were saying in it, what is Ralph's endgame? And I mean, the only thing I can think of is he's down on his luck in Mexico. He can't come back to the States because he's got warrants out. You know what I mean? And he's like he's thinking, if I can get Scarlett, get her back to Mexico, we can start doing a bit of the old porn and the OnlyFans. You know what I mean? He can start bilking her and milking her for money, you know, making content. He probably thinks he can, he can do a grand a night, he can do a grand a night with Scarlett, more than the 100, 200 he's doing at the moment. That's the only end game I can think. You think he's going to use and abuse her for the money. But did you see her? Her lips are getting fat. She looks like she's fucking drunk all the time. She's going around slur. And Mersh was right. She has become a white nationalist overnight. Now, everyone knows that I say a lot of if you watch my videos, I say a lot of stuff about politics, race, and stuff like that. But the fact that she's gone from 1 to 100 just shows how easily influenced she is. When she was with Matt Mead, she probably took Matt Mead's personality. Now she's with Ethan Ralph. She's taken Adelwolf and Ethan Ralph and all the other fucking failed groypers and white nationalists that are in his chat. You know what I mean? She's just going Israel, Israel, Israel. That's all you get out of her now, don't you? White pride and black this and black that. It's like, fucking hell, mate. Well, get yourself a better personality than Ralph's.
Yeah, well, we discussed this a little bit. That's kind of the nature of women. If you remember, I mean, not all women, of course, not all women. Alexander Solzhenitsyn, if you guys are familiar with him, he's a writer. He spent a long time in the gulags back in the 40s or something like that. He's a Russian, and he spent a lot of time in the gulags in Russia. And his wife moved with him to be in the gulag, but most women don't do that. He said it's about 1 in 1,000 women stay with you, ride it out or whatever. The other 999 go along with the trend. If you remember in World War II, when the Germans went into France, a lot of the French women went with the Germans. So the majority of women have that tendency to do that. When they get with a man, they adopt his personality, they adopt his likes, they adopt his dislikes, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's just the way women were designed, in order to facilitate creating a family, creating a home, and having children, to be copacetic with their mutual, the guy that they love or whatever. But we're definitely seeing that with Scarlett. She's changing overnight. She's becoming even more combative. I mean, she used to be just kind of a babbling brook, now she's combative. Ethan Ralph's talking about getting married during Hackamania. He don't even know if he's still married. He said, I don't know if I'm still married. Maybe I'll have to get it annulled. So that's a messy, messy business. But James, would you go to Hackamania to watch Ralph get married?
No, I wouldn't be anywhere near any of these people. There is not any amount. Well, it's a silly thing to say, but I will say there's not any amount of money that you could pay me. Of course, there is an amount, and I'm just being like hyperbolic. But I can't imagine how I'd want to be in a room with Ethan Ralph, Scarlett, and all the Dabbleverse and their their hangers on and the people in their chat. I think so. I like our chat. I like the people around us. They seem like normal, hardworking, down to earth people. They give me stick, you know, I'll give them stick back. We have a laugh. It's all good fun. But I think these people, some of them, they're too online orientated. You know what I mean? They seem like too involved. And it's like, it's not an environment that I want to be around. You saw, didn't you, with the stuttering John thing? Would you want to have a drink with any of those people or be in the bar or hang out with them? I couldn't think of you know, I like a nice, cool, chill vibe. You know what I mean? We have a couple of beers, we have a laugh, we do a bit of dance. Maybe we go somewhere, go club, go bar, go restaurant, something like that. That would be more appealing to me. Hanging around with these people just seems like ag. You know what I mean? I couldn't imagine being in the same room as Kevin Brennan. One, because he called me a puff, and I still haven't got him back for that. I still haven't forgot that he called me a puff. And like I just find him an annoying personality. I mean, he's good. You can tell that he runs his stream well. He gets the content that he wants, you know, and he's running the show over there. But if you look at Scarlett, right? Scarlett, to me, when she first burst onto the scene, she seemed a bit ditzy, but she was blonde, bubbly, fun. You know, she was a fun personality.
Fun. Yeah.
Now she just seems like her horrific pantomime white nationalist. She isn't even like, there's no fun about being around a woman like that. Do you want to know why? That woman, right, is going to go, that's my man, that's my boyfriend, Ethan Ralph. And you know what's going to happen? She's going to go into the bar or the restaurant or the club, and she's going to talk like she talks online around a bunch of fucking black people or a bunch of heavy hitters, and you are going to get the shit kicked out of your worst because your girlfriend or wife has got a big fucking mouth. You know what I mean? She will bring that into your real life.
Yeah, I've seen it 100 times. I mean, I'm sure you've seen it too. You're in the bar. There's a woman or a lady there that starts smack talking and gets her man into a fight. I've seen it all the time. I used to live down in Hermosa Beach. There are bars all over the place. There in Redondo. I'd go out every weekend on Wednesdays and Thursdays, Tuesdays, Taco Tuesdays. Your old boy Ray Dog was out there getting it on with the Taco Tuesdays, having a good time. So I've seen them fights. I've seen how most of the time it's the women that start them. I've even been with a few ladies who kind of started fights too. We'd be in a bar somewhere. She'd come up and tell me that guy brushed up against my ass, and I'm like, well, I mean, what? Well, you know, what do you want me to do?
What do you want me to do? It's a club, you know, a bar.
Yeah, people are walking by, and I was like, well, did he grab your ass or what? She's like, no, he just brushed up against it. And I'm like, yeah, we're out in a packed. It's a packed club, bro. It's a bar. Everybody's fighting to get drinks. Nobody's gonna, respect your social, distance and all that stuff. But I got a question, and Miami John's got the same question, James. How much money would it take for you to go to Hackamania? We talking $1,000? We talking $100? We talking $10,000? I mean, realistically, I know you could say $1 million, but come on, you do it for less than that, and so would I. I would do it for less than that. How much would it take to get you there? $25 and a free airplane ticket, right? You got to have that free airplane ticket and a free hotel stay. That would definitely be included. I think I'd do it for $1,000. I think I'd go for $1,000.
Yeah.
That'd be my Miami John. How much?
It depends. I mean,
how much would it take?
If you want to get the
John?
content.
Yeah. Okay. How much for you, Miami John, in the chat? But go on, James. What were you going to say?
It's about content, isn't it? It's about, if it's an ends to a mean, it means to an end rather. If you can get something out of it and it boosts your profile, you know what I mean? If there's like some quid pro quo, but I just imagine it'd be a disaster and a shit show, you know what I mean? And sometimes, the juice isn't worth the squeeze, you know what I mean? Because you don't want that stink on you. It's like there's people online that I could imagine hanging out with in real life, and then there's other people that I just want to avoid like the plague. And I'm not desperate to get any crumb of clout or move up the online social ladder just if I have to spend any amount of time with these people. You know what I mean? I just think fucking Ethan Ralph and Scarlett just seem like a disaster waiting to happen to me. You know what I mean? It's like, it's all going to end in tears.
100%. We got DJ John. He said he'd do it for a paid off trip and $1,000 on top. So 100%. We got Carrie in chat. She says, boys. Good to see you, Carrie. How you doing? Yeah, so that's crazy. I would definitely go. I'd have to have some bros there to go. It'd be rough if I didn't, man. That'd be hell. But I'd have to be eating some good steak every night in order to make that trip worth it, in order to do that. Now, of course, Vegas isn't too far from me, so it's not too bad. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah. It's like, if it's a hop, skip, and a jump, and there's fringe benefits, and maybe someone pays your freight, pays for your ticket, you know what I mean? So you've only got like dip in for personal expenses, sure, you know what I mean? But there's people there, right? Hackamania's like Melton, isn't it? Melton and Melton's crew. And I can't stand that fat fuck. You know what I mean? I wouldn't want to be anywhere near him. You know what I mean? I just look at him. I know that all the lads use the super tips and all that, and that's Melton's thing. Sure, that's great. You know what I mean? But I'm sure he's coining it in and making a good bit of money. You know what I mean? He's not doing it out of kindness of his heart. I just don't like a lot of the Dabbleverse personality. I can't think of anyone in the Dabbleverse I actually like.
Yeah,
I don't think they're.
yeah, I think that Melton is going to try to sell that off as soon as it gets big enough to make a couple of mil off that for sure. King Yeti in the chat says, "Howdy, heathens. What's going on, heathen? Back to you, King Yeti. Good to see you, bro. What do you think? What is Ralph's end game here? James, is he doing like what Mersh said? He's trying to find himself a soft landing spot in America. We all know that his Mexican residency is going to be up this year in a couple months. I don't know exactly how many months. It could be 6, could be 8. But is he trying to find a place to move in with and secure him a place to live? Is that what's going on here?
From what limited knowledge I've got about Ralph's personal life, I think he's type of guy who likes to be in a relationship with a woman who's weak so he can live out his abusive tendencies. You know what I mean? I think he likes someone who's got that meek, weak, pliable personality. And Scarlett's right for the picking, isn't he? He's found a bird, right, who's come from the porn industry. She's incredibly vulnerable. It looks like she self-medicates. It looks like she does drugs. It looks like she's drinking all the time. She's changing before our very eyes. And if Ralph can get in there, she's a bit of a moneymaker for him. You know what I mean? He can get in there. He can use her. He can put her out there on streams. It can be the Ethan and Scarlett show. He can get her doing OnlyFans. She can make a lot of money on OnlyFans, or more money than Ralph's seen in a long time. He's going to take 99.9% of that, or 100%, isn't he?
Yeah.
Whereas Scarlett isn't going to see a dime. She's going to be doing all the work, and she ain't going to see a fucking dime. And he can just control her, can't he? He can control her, and he can use her as like a banking system, can't he? He can just bilk her for money and use and abuse her until she's wrung out, and then he can sling her to the side.
All right, so that's I think you're right on that. Do you think they'll end up in Wisconsin, or do you think they'll move to Vegas? Vegas seems like it'd be a little bit better for what Ralph has in mind. What are your thoughts on that?
Vegas is the perfect destination for them, isn't it? Because like for some people it can be amazing, and for other people it can be hell on earth. And I think for them it'll be like that trashy hell on earth. You know what I mean? Like that Leaving Las Vegas style thing. You know what I mean? They'll be fucking partying and drinking, and when they come on stream, they'll barely be able to put 2 words together. It'll just be like that car crash life, won't it? Where they're just living 24/7, fucking partying, doing drugs, drinking.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of Mad Max. Now, here's why it reminds me of Mad Max, because Ethan Ralph is going to become Immortal Joe. Ethan Ralph is going to become Immortal Joe. That's basically how that goes. That's pretty funny. We got Carrie in the chat. She says, "Look at James's smooth face." James got a smooth face. Let's fucking go. We got King Yeti. He says Ethan and Scarlett are like dried out boxes being tossed into a dumpster fire. 100%. Hillbilly Harry says, "I'm with James on the Dabbleverse people. They all suck." 100%. And we also got Carrie out there. New tip from Carrie. She says, "I support the arts and the smooth faces." Shout out to you, Carrie. There's a little clap and then a couple horns off. Let's fucking go. Thank you, Carrie. We love to see it around here. If you guys want to support, buy me a tequila on a Ko-Fi. I sure appreciate it. Sure love it. Helps keep us going here. Helps keep the new things coming in. So I'm excited about that. King Yeti says, "Screaming and Creaming in Las Vegas, bro." That is totally going to be their movie. Screaming and... Bro, that King Yeti, they actually should pay you to use that for their first porn video. 100%. What do you think about Screaming and Creaming in Las Vegas, James? That's perfect.
It's one of those things, isn't it, where I give credit where credit's due. I couldn't do better than that if I spent all day trying to think of something. You want to get that trademark straight away, trademark it, and charge Ralph the earth. Charge him some of that OnlyFans money, mate.
Yeah, 100%. DJ Miami John said, "James, what happened to the mustache?" Carrie C says she wants to go to the Vegas wedding of Ralph and Scarlett by Elvis. That's exactly what's going to happen.
It's got to be a midget Elvis, though. If there isn't a midget Elvis somewhere, you know what I mean? That's always been my thing. As an Englishman looking at it, I've always thought I'll go to Vegas, find one of those little midget Elvis type things, and really camp it up and make it as kitsch as possible. That would be hilarious.
Yeah, bro, that would be fire. Curly says, it better not be D-Wags, as long as it's not D-Wags dumpster that they're throwing the boxes in. Yeah, 100%. We chit-chatted with D-Wag. He's doing just fine. He was just busy working yesterday, so we'll get him back on here pretty soon. He's a good fella, like that guy. But
he likes to get everything right, doesn't he? He's getting his setup perfect. He's he's only gonna be ready to go when he's ready to go. He's a great guy, D-Wag. I know we have our back and forth, but I think he's a top bloke. Sade's top bloke, all that crew. They're gonna go off and do their thing, and it's gonna be gangbusters. So
yeah, we had
persevere and wait, and it's gonna be worth the wait.
Yeah, we had a good time. I know that D-Wag's working on a lot of animations as well as his regular job behind the scenes.
Yeah.
He's got some Charleston White ones coming out, some Jeffrey Epstein ones, along those lines of that Billy Mays one that we showed, but more contemporary, more up to date about cultural pop. Let me just jump right over here real quick and show off the mugs. The biggest problem, there was no biggest problem there was no biggest problem last night. What the hell was that all about? That was a pain in the ass. So there was no biggest problem last night. But if you want to get a little biggest problem action, I got a couple mugs over here. I got the All Hell Nah, the N5 when Pirate Dick got his his Pokemon or his Magic cards back graded and they weren't as good as he thought they were. That was a great one. Then I got another Pirate Dick mug down here, a two-tone one, and it's pretty fun. I also got a fun one of Vito and Dick asking about, hey, where the hell how's my audio? Get that one right here. And of course, for Hillbilly Harry supporting Jared, let's fucking go. Let's go, Jared. We're always supporting him. So if you want to do that, go on over there, get yourself a nice fun mug and have a good time with that. Put a smile on your face. Now, what are your thoughts, James? No biggest problem this week. What the hell happened to that? First it's Fridays, then it's Thursdays, then it's Fridays again, then Thursdays, then none at all. What happened?
You know what happens, right? Sometimes when you've got something that's actually perfect, right? Sometimes I always say this, sometimes people snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. And I think this is Vito, right? I couldn't be more effusive and praise for the biggest problem in the universe, Dick and Vito, how it was before everything started falling apart. And I remember Nice School said like a year ago, maybe more, he said, it's dead, it's over, it's finished. And I was like, no, because I was more like supportive of Vito back then. I was like, nah, he's one of these, he's like an artist, isn't he? He's like a fat, temperamental big baby. You know what I mean? Sometimes you have to mollycoddle him. Sometimes you have to change his nappy. Sometimes you have to wipe his bibby. You know what I mean? He's one of those guys. He's not a very strong alpha male type. So persevere because you've got a really good format. You don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater and see if you can salvage this. But then I stopped paying my subscription. I stopped watching it. You said that Vito wanted to go from Friday to Thursday.
Yeah, who does
and I was
that?
like, oh, right. I don't know. You've got your day and you've got your time slot. You don't want to be, it's not a movable. Yeah. It's not a movable feast. It's like you said yesterday. You want to be in on time. You want to know, people know that you're there. You want to be consistent. You want to add more shows. And I was like, you sure? And he was like, yeah. And then when you added the lunch break, I was like, hands up, mate. That was a great idea. You were right. I was wrong. And I was the first one to admit it. And I think Nice School was right. I think the biggest problem in the universe is dead. Now, that isn't me criticizing Dick Masterson. Dick Masterson's got the Dick Show. He's very talented at what he does. I'm sure he could get Riley to be a co-host or someone else. And then the biggest problem that will be back to its best.
Yeah.
But once something's a bit tainted, once something's got a bit of a stink on it, once you know it's lost its luster, is it worth persevering? Because Vito's unreliable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's a guy that's prone to temperament. It's like I said, every time he hears his name, negatively, positively, he wants to jump straight in. He's messing around with you, isn't he? Yeah. He's going, I'll do the interview. I won't do the interview. Yeah. Is he being serious? Is he joking? If you schedule the interview, will he turn up or will he pull a fast one on you? He'll pop in and pop straight back out and go, fuck you, Ray, I played you. And then you're left holding the bag, ain't you? Thinking, how am I going to get a 2-hour show out of this? You know what I mean? He's like a guy. I couldn't put my faith in a guy like Vito, and I can understand Dick. You know, he's got his family, he's got a nice life, a beautiful family, beautiful home. Do you really want to be worrying about Vito when you don't need Vito and you don't need the money? I'd have fucked him off ages ago.
Yeah. Now, there you say you brought up a really good point there. We got Presby Bro in chat. What's up, Baston Bikes? Good to see you, Presby Bro. Shout out to you, bro. A couple of things about the whole Vito thing. Like, yeah, you don't move once you got the biggest problem. You got your show. You don't move it from Friday to Thursday, back and forth, and then the worst thing you could do is not to do one. That's ridiculous. The next thing is that like he moved it on Thursday to Friday this week, trying to move it around because he wanted to go be on a movie set and he played a clown or something like that. He had a whole face of makeup on. And bro, if you got a job that you're making $3,000 a month, why would you move that to go be an extra or, you know, on a movie? I mean, I can't imagine he's getting paid $3,000 to be in a movie. So what the hell's going on with that, bro? And then finally, when you brought up that, yeah, he was kind of messing a little bit with me. We started this. I personally thought the biggest problem in the universe was back on track. I thought, you know, it had 2 or 3 good episodes under his belt. It was starting to get interesting again. It was doing well. So that's why I came up with the whole idea to do this draw Vito contest, draw your favorite character kind of thing. And we've been having fun doing it. It's engaging the biggest problem in the universe fan base. It's engaging for them. Okay. And it's fun to do. It gets you a little giggle. It lets you draw. You start to learn how to draw. You get that passion for drawing going again. You have a good time. And also, there's no, you know, everybody can do it. You can be a terrible artist. You can be a great artist. You can do it with your friends. It could be
I'm a terrible artist, and I gave it a crack.
Yeah, James, you did it, and yours was hilarious. I was laughing my ass off for a good 5 minutes on both of those. And so, why, you know, Vito goes on the Ministry of the Dude and says, "Okay, I'll do a interview with Ray," and I'm like, "Okay, cool, fire, we'll set it up." Then all of a sudden he just backs out, posts that he's not going to do it and changed his mind. And now he's like getting aggro about it, saying, draw me eating babies. And I'm like, bro, that's not what this is all about. In fact, there was a couple of guys who posted some pretty vulgar, you know, drawings of Vito trying to get at him, you know, not really in the spirit of the contest. And I deleted them. You know, I'm not here to try to humiliate anybody. I'm trying to, you know, stoke that fire, the fan art for the biggest problem in the universe, and rehabilitate Vito's character a little bit. And to that,
do you want to know what I think it is? Right?
What do you think?
What I think it is, I think it's a guy who can't control the narrative, who's trying to control the narrative. He saw that there was going to be a scheduled program on Ministry of Dude about him, right? And he immediately jumped on, right, to try and control the narrative and take them out of the box of what they were going to do as the show. If I was, I'm not saying Dr. Till can run his show how he wants, but if I was Dr. Till, I wouldn't have given Vito the link. I would have done my show how I wanted to do my show, because Vito could say, demand the link, and then he takes over and he tries to control the narrative. It's like what I've always said, why I don't get vexed about trolls. I don't get vexed whether people like me, love me, or loathe me in the chat. It's their entitlement. You know, not everyone's going to like you. Not everyone's going to love you. Not everyone's going to hate you. You know, it's a mixed bag. You know, I don't try and control the narrative. You're free to have an opinion about whatever you want when it comes to me, when it comes to the shows. I might chat back and give a few comments and have a laugh, try and win you around. But you can't win round everyone. And I think Vito's got that personality where he's desperately trying to control the narrative. And I think where the biggest problem lost its luster for me was when Dick Masterson could no longer stomach having Vito in the studio, could no longer stomach have him in his house, because that's where the friction comes from. The beauty of a show like that is I don't think they necessarily like each other a lot, or there's friction between them every show, and they're right there next to each other, and you can cut the tension with a knife. But when you've got Dick in his home, in his studio, and you've got Vito in his home, in his studio, it loses its luster. It loses the tension. It loses that, you know, God, they could literally strangle each other. You know what I mean? They're fucking right there. You know what I mean? And Dick's looking at him in a way like, why are you tanking my show? Why are you tanking this show, worrying about what people are saying in the chat? Look, they're giving you money. Yeah, they call you all the names under the sun, but who cares? They're doing that to get a reaction and to get a rise out of you, but they're paying you to do it on top of the making money you're making from your Patreon. You know what I mean? That when I said earlier the juice wasn't worth the squeeze to go to Hackmania, I tell you the juice is worth the squeeze. If it came to a point where we do a Patreon and it's like we all, you know, they do the veto files and the what sticks one. If it's like
Dickheads, I
say,
think. Yeah.
right, so say like you're the dickheads, right? You're not a dickhead, but say you're the dickheads,
Right.
right? And you've got like 150, and I'm the veto files, and I've got like 25. I could give two shits and a fuck as long as we're getting paid.
Yeah.
You can be the one that's universally loved and adored, and I can be the one that's universally hated.
Yeah.
That's good for a show. You know what I mean? It makes good entertainment. I'm not going to sit at home after I get off screen and cry about it, you know, with my teddy bear in my bed. You know what I'm saying? It's like, have a laugh, mate. You know, grow up.
Well,
we're all in our fucking 40s here.
Yeah, I think that's the big issue here is that he's having trouble separating the entertainment component of the character from his own personal identity. And so when people are doing this, you know, he feels attacked, and he's not being attacked. Like we have this fantastic, I'm just going to show it real quick, this fantastic cover from Jonah Sweet of The Biggest Problem, and he's going after Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man. I think it was the 300th Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man, a fantastic piece of artwork. So this is the kind of stuff that we're going after. And of course, he's standing on top of his toilet and all that kind of stuff. But that's kind of what we're going after here. And, you know, it's a very, you know, under the layer, it's a psychological intrigue. I'm going to say that. It's intriguing psychologically because I'm watching Vito and like, you know, he definitely is compelled to be a part of whatever he's talked about. Okay. If somebody's talking about him, he's compelled to be there. He didn't want to have anything to do with the interview until Dick Masterson retweeted Zayd's Vitruvian Man, you know, seemingly approving of the draw veto contest. Right after he did that, Vito was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll do an interview." So Dick Masterson was the big influence right there that changed Vito's mind. But then Vito went on Dr. Till's show, and you know, I'm glad Dr. Till did it. All power to Dr. Till. To get him on there. Dr. Till also had sent me the link, you know, was going to try to get me to come on too. I just wasn't at home at the time. And to pop on and to have a little chit chat with Vito, and asked Vito myself if he would come on and do an interview, you know, and I don't mean any kind of slight by this interview. It's going to be my standard artist interview. And if you guys know, if you've seen my artist interviews, I got like 7 or 8 of them so far. We're going to be doing more. I got more people lined up. All we do is talk about creativity. We talk about the creative journey. We talk about how you became creative, when you first realized you were creative, when you first got your first external validation in the form of payment or appreciation for being creative, how the doors open for you. Like, how did Vito go from Massachusetts to get out here in California? How did he end up breaking through the barrier to become popular in the, you know, a D-level E-celeb? How did he get picked up to go on the Biggest Problem with Dick? How did that change his life? What are some of the negative things that came along with it? What are some of the positive things that came along with it? You know, things along those lines. And where does he intend to go with it? You know, is he going to become a writer? What does he want to do with the rest of his career? And that's what we basically talk about. But Vito's batting this back and forth like it's some sort of, you know, I don't know, some sort
game.
of some sort of game. Yeah, like he's trying to wind me up or something, and I don't really mind. He can try to wind me up because I'm not going to get wound up. This is just about the artwork for me, and because I love art, obviously, and I think that's what the unifying base is. And Dick has always been very, very supportive of artists. Dick has always been extremely supportive of artists, and every artist that comes around Dick understands that. He's a very, very kind person, very generous when he comes to his support with artists, and I very much appreciate that. So I wanted to reciprocate and try to, you know, build that momentum, that steam, that fan support back for The Biggest Problem, because they used to get fan art all the time until they dipped in popularity. They even had their own page for fan art, and a tremendous amount of fan art. And I actually did, you know, The Biggest Problem fan art before I started doing the cartoons too, and then I started doing the cartoons and having a good time doing that. So that's really what my motivation behind doing this Let's Draw a Veto contest. Now, everybody out there, draw yourself a veto, okay? I don't care if you're a great artist, a terrible artist. Do it and have fun doing it. Make some funny giggles about it, and then post it on X and tag me at Ray is Happy, so that we can grow this momentum, and so that perhaps Vito will come around and say, okay, I'd love to have Vito on to judge, you know, the contest as a guest judge, and maybe give a Vito special award or something like that. And if he doesn't want to do the interview, that's fine. He doesn't have to do the interview. I'm sure I'd like to do an interview, and the invitation is always going to be out there, is always going to be open, but it doesn't have to be. If he doesn't want to do it, it's fine. And I'm not going to take it one way or the other or hold anything against him if he doesn't do it. That's no big deal. But I sure would love to have him come on and guest judge. We can just go through all of the entries. I'm going to include them all in a video format when it closes. And then there will be prizes. I am getting some prizes, so I'm excited about that. But what's your take on it, James? What do you think? Should Vito just go ahead and, just have a laugh at himself? It'll be a lot easier on him. Why is he making such a big stink of this?
I can't imagine this person. I can't understand his personality because I don't have that personality. If I can put myself into this for the moment, if you said he has to understand, right? You are universally popular, and I'm not saying that to fucking kiss your ass or blow smoke up you, because that's not my personality. But the only person that I could think that said a bad word about you was when Rouse said that you were a good cook and you were a shit artist, and then he posted your model pics. But if you go to any corner of the internet, if you go to the ROTC crowd, if you go to the Nightwave crowd, if you go to the Comicscape crowd, you go to all of those crowds, they've all got positive things to say about you. Katie did have something positive to say about you with the Good Morning Comicsgate stuff. If you talk about the people in the chat, you're the wrong person to pick a fight with in that sense. And I think Ralph, I think Vito, they're the same, Vito and Ralph. But they're like the same person to me. They are like two sides of the same coin. And it's like, but if Vito is just like, you've got to understand, you are a cool celeb. You have got popularity. If Ray had said, I'm going to do a James Domenico Grabham drawing competition, it would have been wah, wah, wouldn't have got anything. But everyone, right, wants to get on this Vito drawing contest because whether they like you, whether they love you, or whether they hate you, they want to do a drawing. And people who excel at drawing, like Zaid, are doing it, and people that are crap at art, like me, have done a couple of pictures. It is bringing a community, it's bringing a people, it's bringing a chat, it's bringing an audience together that's mutually beneficial. So if I was you, I would play into it. I would do the interview with Ray. I would do the winners, the runners up and all that, and fucking present a trophy or whatever you're going to do. You could do like a Vito trophy, couldn't you? What in every style you want. Like Vito sitting on the toilet with no door. That's what I do. That would be my one.
Yeah.
If I was a really good artist, I'd do Vito sitting on his toilet with no door and a stink wafting out and his cat passing out or something. That would be the one. But I'm not a good enough artist, so I just did a couple of faces. But I think you should embrace it like I do. I embrace the good, the bad, the indifferent. Of course, I didn't like the stuff that was the AI that was directed at my mother, but I told you how I was going to deal with it. I just completely ignore those people. I don't give them a reaction, positive or negative. I just act like they don't exist and I haven't seen it. And that's the only time. Oggy done the Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. It looked like I had a little fat face. You know what I mean? Because I said about the tattoo with my mum's nickname being Twink. And I wasn't going to get Twink tattooed. Straight away, I reposted it. I repost everything that Oggy does. You know what I mean? Whether it's taking the piss out of me or anything, I don't care. It's good stuff. It's nice. It's nice in a way. You know what I mean? People know you're out there. It's good. It's better to be known than not be known. You know what I mean? And it helps the podcast. It helps the streams. It helps us all grow. You know what I mean? It's a mutual benefit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a wholesome thing. We got DJ John out there with the little Ko-Fi. Shout out to you, DJ John. He says, fuck Vito. Put this towards tequila for my belated birthday stream. Hopefully this week. Let's fucking go. He also said, Brandon sent Mersh $100 super tip last night and ended it with everyone follow Ray Ray. And Mersh said, yes, follow Ray Ray for sure. 100%. We also got Press People out there. He says, being hateable is Vito's entire brand at this point. It almost seems like that's 100% what it is. Scribe Comics out there says, yo, shout out to Scribe Comics. He did a great entry. He said, let's make this Vito's best summer. 100%. Completely agree with that. Also, Presby Bro says he thinks Vito's just a trash person. Honestly, didn't do anything to that guy? No, I didn't do anything to it. I was just trying to bring it back. A focal point to the biggest problem, which I appreciate. I'm a fan of the biggest problem. I am also a fan of Vito, and I think that I was trying to do a little bit of a Vito rehabilitation on his image there. give it an opportunity for the audience to, get out some of their anger, some of their, a little catharsis there with a little bit of their, frustration with Vito through drawing, because drawing is very cathartic. Create a fun, little contest there, and we'll have a winner. Maybe we'll do like what James said and make a couple of trophies that are gag trophies with a toilet or something like that. I think that would be hilarious. I might even put up a poll and with all the entries and let everybody vote for who's going to be the winner. We'll see about that. So that could be fun. But I don't know.
He doesn't handle pressure. He doesn't handle pressure.
No.
Some people really excel, at handling pressure. Some people are not scared of the bright lights. This is a man who's spent his whole life, I think, desperately wanting to be famous, desperately wanting to have some kind of career in Hollywood. You know what I mean? He lives in California. You know what I mean? He dreams of Californication. You know what I mean? That's what he wants. He wants that life. But he's a man that can't deal with like a little bit of pressure. If you sweat and you get hassled by people in the chat, then you ain't ready for prime time. You ain't ready for the big stuff. You ain't ready for anything. And I know he's way ahead of where we are at the moment, but like he can't handle it. You know what I mean? Bright lights. You know what I mean? He could have 10 pairs of shades on and he wouldn't be able to handle the bright lights. He gets really flustered. He gets really frustrated. He throws his toys out of the pram. He's a man who's approaching middle age or getting up there, and he just can't handle it in a normal, rational way like adults deal with it. People give shit to each other. Best friends, right, that I've known whole life, right, give the worst shit to you. Way worse shit than you get on the internet, but you still love them. You still get on with them. You still have a laugh. You know what I mean? You've got to take the rough with the smooth. You know what I mean? He's got to embrace it. And they're fucking giving him money. Swallow it, mate. If you're getting paid for it and you're earning nice money, I tell you what, do you want to get a normal job? Do you want to be stacking shelves in the supermarket? Do you want to be pumping gas? Do you want to be making sandwiches? Or do you want to be sitting in your house with your cat fucking earning money for jam? You know what I mean? It's easy street.
No, you're 100% right. We got a new tip from David P. He says he's not gay. He just enjoys purple LEDs. I saw that on the Merch stream. You gave a super chat or something like that, and with an image, and Merch was saying get rid of those LED lights in your house. I don't know if you heard, David, but Merch also has LED lights in his house, and Ice Dancer added them for that one. That was pretty funny. King Yeti says, just sitting here in his team collar, plaid Chargers fitted hat with extra large logo, thinking, damn, Ray's hat is nice as fuck. Let's fucking go. That deserves a little clap right there, too. I used to be a huge Charger fan, man. I used to love them guys when they were still in San Diego. And I had all the Chargers gear and all that good stuff, too. And then they moved out. They stabbed Drew Brees in the back. He went on to the Saints, won that Super Bowl. LaDainian Tomlinson never got a Super Bowl. I loved LT. Big fan of Phillip Rivers, too, and all of his 19 or 20 kids or however many kids that motherfucker has.
He churns them out, doesn't he, man? He's got a whole team of his own, isn't he?
Oh, my God, he so does. We got Elizabeth Emoji. She says, Vito, like Ray, just wants to make money on X. Facts. Mute for a day helps him focus on how he can make money on X. I think he will be fine by the date. You might be right, Elizabeth. Maybe he just needed a little bit of a breather. Maybe too much coming at him. Maybe he couldn't handle all the social input. Professor Grass says 100% approval since fucking when. He's referring to the title and the thumbnail. We're going to talk about that here in a minute. They're all in CNN and everybody's saying that Trump has 100% approval from the MAGA people. I'm like, bro, that's crazy. No way that can happen. King Yeti says, Pram is a stroller for us, not Brit speakers. I'm not sure what that means, but let's fucking go. Make sure you guys like, share.
Oh, I said throw toys out of the pram, didn't I? It's like a euphemism for like being a big old baby, but you say stroller and not pram, I imagine.
Okay. Yeah, facts, 100%. So, I think maybe Vito will come back around. Maybe he won't. We'll see. He's got till April 11th. On April 11th, on April 11th, the competition closes. Then on the 12th, we're going to figure out what's what with the awards and whatnot. Now, it was fantastic, though. It's been a lot of fun so far, and I hope everybody joins in and has a good time. Now, I did want to bring up, James, we watched, I don't know, I think you watched it too, Mint Salad. She got her stream coming up later on. I think it's today, maybe, later on today.
Yeah.
I saw the one from last week. I was watching it for a little bit. It was pretty interesting. She brought up, let me just bring this up real quick. Let me find it. I have it right here. I gotta find it. Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Oh, there it is, right there. I'm gonna show this real quick. We got there we go. She brought up this whole thing about like she got this triangle thing, and at the top she has the manipulators, then she has the normies down here, and then she has the noticers, and so it's like this big triangle, and it's about this I guess this social environment of
Yeah, she's like a sociology teacher now, isn't she?
of conflict or something like that. Yeah, it feels like a sociology. And I wanted to get your thoughts. What when you did you watch that first? And number two, what were your thoughts when you were reading that? Or did it kind of go in one ear and out the other?
I told you, I watched the first stream, the comeback stream, which was basically, it was a very strange experience for me because me and John jumped in the chat, and I think we were the only two people that didn't need a brain transplant.
Yeah.
You know, these people in the chat were mentally retarded. But basically, what's happened? The whatever you want to call them, Rippaverse fans, Rippards, the people that are opposed to Comic Skater, anti-Comic Skaters, are basically coalesced around Mint and Schizo Sean because of their hatred of Riley. And I like Riley. I've always said that. I've never made any. I mean, I think I might have fallen out with Nice School over it. I think Nice School don't like me no more because I've never made any bones about it. I like Riley. I respect him. He's a very smart guy. He's got a lot of astute things to say. He knows a lot about rap, black culture. You know what I mean? You could. He's not. He's not as advertised. You know what I mean? He plays a character, but deep down, this guy's a smart guy, and I like him. So I was like saying, "Nah, this is bullshit." When I was in the chat with John, and it was like all these people have gravitated around Mint now, and it's like fucking Frog Pony, all that crowd, bunch of idiots, bunch of drips, bunch of melts, and it was just basically the first stream was a venting of everything that was bad about Riley. You know how he was like he was responsible for everything that's happened. He was the cause of it. I'm this good person, even though I fucking ran off with this geezer with bunny ears, who's a bit of a jerk, a bit of a fucking bit of an idiot. You know what I mean? And it was like, okay, fair enough. That was just spewing shit for the first stream. But then the second stream, right? I thought, how are you going to follow that up? And it was just a boring 2 hour sociology class.
Yeah, I feel like I was in
like,
school.
it was like you know when they say cod psychology. It was like she got all over. It's like you get it out of a cereal packet or something. She drew this chart and she was telling you who are the noticers and who were like the fucking like I don't know psychos or whatever shit. And it was basically just another way to vent and shit on Riley.
Yeah,
basically, in my opinion, it was just to say that look, this is Riley, and anyone who associates with Riley or sticks up for Riley, they're dog shit, they're garbage people, and this is where we are. You know, was she a noticer? I couldn't even remember. It was just all bollocks, man.
I'm not sure, but you know, it's very interesting. It's a very combative way to look at a social environment, as if everything is going to be a conflict, that somebody beats somebody else, and I guess you know, different people get their ass kicked by everybody or whatever. But when I was watching this, I was thinking, wow, that's a very combative way to look at the world. That leaves no room for creativity. If there's this competition in this combat, where's the creativity at? You know, and also when you're building a platform, you want to build a platform that people want to experience. You know, they have a desire to experience, which is fun, or you know, something that's rooted in one of the things, a vice perhaps, something that they enjoy, something they can like get addicted to. And so I would encourage them to build a platform based upon something like that. You don't go to a party, James, to do homework. You go to a party to have fun, right? You don't want to do homework. And I think people should consider that. When I was looking at this, when I was watching their video, I was thinking, wow, you know, people with autism or Asperger's or you know, a little bit of a deficiency in social acuity, they develop these rule sets, these strategies in order to deal with the real world, where people
cope with the real world, cope with life.
And that's what it kind of felt like to me. And it felt like that. And people who develop a good social conscious and a good ability to interpret visual or social cues rather, are able just to go with the flow. You know, you don't want to be thinking about all this stuff. You're all up in your head about this stuff. You're never in the moment having fun. And I think that's the goal when you're in a social situation, is to be in the moment, to be having a good time, to connect with people. And if you're thinking about all of this hierarchy, it's going to be a very difficult to do that. Elizabeth Emoji says, I think her beat means controls. Oh yeah, okay, you're right, controls. But still, even in that situation, when you're trying to control somebody, that's rough, isn't it? How can you be a creative, entertaining person as soon as you introduce the concept of control? The creativity changes from art to propaganda. Now we have propaganda, and propaganda is tyrannical in nature. So it's very dangerous. She says also she thinks Sean is a furry. Yeah, man. That bunny hat's getting a little bit worn for wear, don't you think, James? It may be time to retire that or get a new one.
Well, we were talking about this, right? And I was like, I don't get Mint's cognitive dissonance. You know what I mean? How she squares the circle. Because everyone that was in that chat, right, at one stage or another, has made her life and Riley's life and Dick's life a misery online, on socials. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They've called her all the names under the sun. They've called her piss whore. They've said she was trafficked by Dick and Riley. They said she was a sexual abuse victim. They said she's a retard. And now she's fully embracing those people because they like her now because she is shitting on Riley. You know what I mean? I couldn't, right? You're doing all these social structures and these sociology classes. I couldn't be around someone who spent like the last year or two shitting on you.
Right, right.
You're like my best pal online. I couldn't like be around in a social group with all these people that have shitted on you constantly. Like you said the other day, there was a couple of people shitting on me, and you banned them straight away, didn't you? You got
Yeah.
them out of the chat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The people that have been giving like the AI with my mother,
Yeah.
and it's like I couldn't be around that. I don't know. She's embracing people, right? That treated her like something they've stepped in,
Yeah.
but now she wants to be around those people because they attack Riley and they attack Dick.
Yeah.
And Riley's done nothing wrong in this.
Yeah.
Riley is the injured party. He's the innocent party. He was the one that was done over by Mint and by Sean, and them trying to act in a certain way, like, hey, we're the good guys. Come and watch our stream. Their stream, basically, like you said, consists on shitting on Riley.
Yeah.
The moment they stop talking about Riley, they have no stream, they have no platform. It's basically built around him and their newfound hatred of him.
Yeah.
It's bizarre.
Shout out to Mr. Jiki. He says he's heading to a musical with the wife, so can't watch it live. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Have a great Saturday. What musical are you going to go see? That sounds pretty interesting.
Cats.
Cats, yeah. On the John says the bigger stalker guy and his people, 100%. Now, I think you make a very good point right there, James. When you're going to create a platform, you want to first entice people to come be a part of that platform. You have to use honey, not vinegar, to do that, right? As goes the metaphor. And then on top of it, you should not even start to teach anything until you're already successful, because who wants to listen to somebody who's a failure teach you anything, right? And if Riley was the big problem as to why their channel didn't grow or whatever, go off and grow your channel and then tell everybody how it's done. That makes sense. I have no real commentary on the relationship aspect of it, as everybody's been in their 20s and everybody's, gone with whomever and whatever. And, you make mistakes, you live with life, you do things that, other people that think are mistakes and you think are not mistakes, and only time will tell. But I think the real question here is something like this, this triangle that we're talking about right here. There's this concept called like cluster B personality syndrome, where those kind of people that are cluster B respond to different types of stimuli, different than the normal people who respond to love, hate, all this kind of stuff. And they treat other people as if they were appliances, like a refrigerator or like a freezer or a microwave. And they use them for a specific purpose and then put them back on the shelf until they need them again. That's how they do these relationships. And that's exactly what you just described with how they're dealing with Frog Tony and all these other people that they used to be against, but now because they're forced to use them, now they're all of a sudden on their side and they're joining up. And you cannot build a long-term successful community, friendship, family, whatever you want to call it that way. The only thing that you can do to that end is to do what Epstein did and create blackmail material to ensure everybody behaves normally. And I don't know about you, James, but I don't want to be a part of anything that has blackmail. I prefer loyalty. I prefer the old school masculine loyalty. I subscribe to what Charleston White said. Hey, if we making money together, I ain't talking shit about you. Okay. Doesn't matter
No.
what you're doing. If we're doing a thing together, if we're in business together, I ain't gonna talk shit about my business people. Okay. I might say, yeah, well, no comment, or hey, that's for them to talk about, or whatever, but I'm not gonna talk shit about them. So what are your thoughts on that, James? Do you have any?
Well, let me tell you something about Riley from what I know of him behind the scenes and when I've interacted with him. I know for a fact that he was the driving force behind everything that they did. He's an incredibly articulate guy. He's creative. He's a deep thinker. This guy is fucking way smarter than me. I'm telling you. He's been nothing but a good guy to me. So I'm telling you, he's like, without him, I don't see how they make it. You know what I mean? Because he was the driving force. He was the creative force of everything that they put out. And they caught fire, didn't they? They caught fire. They burst onto the scene. You know, they were big in Comicsgate. You know, they were Mint was appearing on the shows, and her art, right, was selling more than the likes of Aaron Lopresti, Graham Nolan. Who do you think made that possible? It wasn't, you've said to me, it wasn't the quality of Mint's art. It was the quality of Riley's promotion.
Yes.
Riley is very much like an old school promo guy. You know, the guys that used to come out and big up the rappers before the rappers started. He's like a very old school promo guy. You know what I mean? He goes balls to the wall.
Yes.
He puts eyeballs and brings attention. This guy, you know him. One of the most creative things I've seen online, and I've said this before, so I'm not new saying this, was when I said this kid's got it, was when Riley marched up and down and said, I'm going to shave your shoulders. And he got the fucking comedy scissors. And he was just marching up and down when he said, I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to come to your place. I'm going to shave your shoulders. And I'm like, that's creative. He was the creative mind behind everything. Do you think Schizo Sean has got a creative bone in his body? He just sits there like a lapdog with, like you said, the furry thing with the bunny ears on, just going, yeah, Riley's terrible. Yeah, Riley. Yeah, it's not Riley. Sounds like a gay guy. You know what I mean? He's like this gay guy. They actually don't even look like a couple. I said this to you first stream. I said, don't they look like brother and sister? There's no sexual chemistry there. It looks fucking terrible. You know, it looks like they could be related. And he's just sitting there like a bitchy girl, a bitchy woman. You know what I mean? Ridiculing another man. And I'm like, that's not masculine. That's not alpha male. That's not something that I want to watch or tune into. You just sound like a bitchy woman. Why would I want to watch that? It's fucking terrible.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think the rebrand is going as planned. Now, I do hope they have a successful rebrand, though. You know, of course, I hope that everybody is successful because they all can contribute and add to the environment. Just like, you know, I hope Vito comes around and becomes successful. Elizabeth said something very interesting. Let me just pull that up real quick. It takes money off your plate when you use negative measures. I completely agree with that. You know, it causes collateral damage that you can't calculate or you can't anticipate. So it's best just to have a moral code and to keep to that moral code, unless you're going to go ahead and be one of them Luciferian people and you're going to end up on Epstein's Island eating babies and whatnot. Yeah, nobody wants to do that. King Yeti says, everyone thinks they're Patrick Bateman, but they're more like Aaron Imholt. And bro, is that not the truth? Everybody wants to think that these cluster B psychopaths are Machiavellian, they're this and that, when all they are really doing is trying to get back to Nick Rekieta's house to swallow some more cum. That's how it seems to me. Kind of.
He's
gross.
an incredibly strange individual, isn't he? You could do, right. I think you could do like a whole series. We could do a week on Aaron Imholt, and we could go from like the start to where he is now. And I always wonder about people, you know, when they're alone in their home and they look in the mirror, do they see the same person that they project?
That's a great question. That is a great question.
When Aaron's on stream, right, he talks about himself in a really queer and strange manner. He talks about himself very in a highfalutin manner, like his stream is bigger than it is, like his influence is huge in scope. And like he is like, when he said, I'm manipulating Ethan Van Sciver, he's dancing to my tune, I'm like the puppeteer of Ethan, you know, he's not responding to me, so I've beaten him, and I did this for the wider community. And I'm like, mate, you're sitting next to a geezer, the geezer the other day that was I can't remember what his name was, but he was basically saying that he wouldn't bubble his mate if he was a child abuser. And this guy that he was on stream with, he's always looking up like, I don't know. I think he's replaced Johnny Crutches with a moron, and it's like, mate, what do you see when you're looking at? I know he sees a boxer that he admires. I don't know what fighter he admires, but maybe he admires Mike Tyson, maybe he admires Rocky Marciano, maybe he admires fucking Roy Jones Jr., Floyd Mayweather Jr. I don't know who his boxing idol is, but he sees someone who is the epitome, the epitome of an alpha male, and he has this puffed up chest, and it's like, but then he goes Venmo, Cash App, and he's like crawling in the last 10 minutes to make like an extra $25-$30, and all that bravado goes straight out of the window because he comes across as a very nervous, needy personality that's worried about, he's so down on his luck, he's worried about $100-$200 either way. You know, all the evening streams carrying the morning stream, and I'm worried about this. The morning streams carrying the evening stream. It's like, mate, this might not be for you, son. Maybe you should go get a job somewhere else. I don't know.
King Yeti says his name is Oz. Oz isn't just a moron. He's a drunk moron. Mersh called him Rain Man. Pat says, bro, I can't even watch the Aaron Imholt clips anymore. They make me feel so stressed out, like I have to do my taxes or something. You know, he's a Venmo, Cash App, PayPal. I was like, I feel like I'm already in debt. Like after I watch him for like 30 seconds, I'm like, I'm already feeling it. You know what I mean? It's just like, I feel so like his anxiety must be through the roof. He must be eating like crazy. Maybe that's why he's getting so fat, bro. But he really fell off. Him and Karmic, bro. Those two. Now, James, what was your initial thoughts on Karmic? I liked his voice, but I didn't really like what he did. It seemed pretty boring to me. But then, I mean, he rode that wave for a bit. What were your thoughts on him? Is he in the? He's not in the Dabbleverse. Is he in the Dabbleverse? I don't know.
Karmic's personality is another strange one in the sense that he kind of loves what he hates and he hates what he loves. He obviously wants to do streaming, but he hates the response that comes with it because he's become like an online lolcow, and he can't like accept that like. He can't accept that. It's hard for him to accept. And I think when he fell off for me was when he had the chance with Scarlett.
I know.
He was doing streams with Scarlett, right? And this is when you and me first interacted with Scarlett, and she started following us. And I thought, oh, we might be able to get Scarlett on stream. Like I thought we could get Courtney Brooke on stream. And I thought, yeah, we're going to get some women on stream. It's going to, advance our stream. It's going to add to the audience. And there was this time, I really think Scarlett, they live near each other. I thought there was going to be like a meet up, they were going to like maybe start a relationship or at least have sex. He was going to have sex with her. And then he didn't seem like a man that could land the deal. He couldn't sell it. It was like, he somewhat seems to me is asexual.
Yeah.
I don't even know if he's not straight. He's not queer. He just doesn't seem to be interested in one way or the other. He ain't interested in women. He ain't interested in men. He ain't interested in fucking anything. He's just like this asexual fucking like he's an avatar person.
Well,
he comes on and he does his AI music. Nothing about him seems authentic.
Well,
he seems like a DJ from the fucking 70s or 80s or something.
Yeah, he likes that older lady, that comedian that he's with. He wouldn't leave her. I forget what her name is. I'm sure the chat will remind me. Let's see. Presby Bro says Karmic is a weird child. Never liked him. I agree with that. It was hard for me to stomach him for sure. I thought I gave him a chance. I liked his voice. Some of his songs were fun. I love that Ghost Party song. That was fun. But he totally lost it when, he wouldn't go and at least to entertain, talking to Scarlett. And it really showed how immature he really is. And I kind of lost all interest. Any interest I had at that point was gone because of the immaturity. I'm like, bro, this is a layup, bro. Just get her on stream, whatever. But he's crazy, bro. King Yeti says he has the charisma of a tweaked out raccoon. Yeah. Oh, Felicia Gillespie. That's who it was. Thanks, King Yeti. Felicia. Yeah. He's like, for some reason, he's like got this MILF complex or this GILF complex where he's just in love with that old lady, Felicia. And, that's just weird. I guess he's like the 40-year-old virgin, got his first piece of pussy. and he's locked in for the rest of his life to a geriatric piece of fish. I don't know, but well, that's
So you want about Ralph, but he didn't fumble the bag. As soon as the opportunity was there, fucking dollar signs, mate. He's over there, mate. He's getting the contracts. He's doing his fucking sex tapes. He's getting arrested. He's coming out. He's fucking hopping back over to Mexico. They're getting married in Vegas. This fucking guy's going a mile a minute, and Karmik's still there going. He only had to go. I mean, they live in the same area. I'd have gone there the same fucking night, mate. I would have pumped Scarlett, right? I would have pumped as soon as she got off stream. I said, I'm going over there, and I would have pumped her. You know what I mean? It's like it's not hard. It's like the easiest thing in the world. She's basically come on stream, right, with her legs wide open, and Karmik's like this. He's like, what are you doing, mate? It's like that was when I was like, I swear that was when I was like, he's like some asexual fucking android or something. He has no emotion. He doesn't feel. You know, like when you know, like me and you, it's like the blood's running through our body. We feel things, good, bad, or indifferent. You know, aggressive, non-aggressive. You know, we get it. And we get fits of anger. I've never seen it. He's like this. He's like smoking like this, going. He just does this on fucking stream. It's like, mate, liven up for fuck's sake.
He is a constant tease with no delivery. But bro, you hit it spot on. Ralph, when he saw the bag, he went for it. He grabbed it. He flew over. He got her on stream. He got FaceTimed her. He was on. Bro, he was on that shit like flies on a badger's carcass, my man. He was on that shit quick. He was on that shit quick, bro. Maybe I guess Karmik needs to go to the Gunt school of getting the bag or whatever for sure. Now let's go ahead and you got anything else to say before we bounce out of that topic? I got a couple more topics to cover, James.
Nah, man, I think we should end it with Karmik. Like Karmik ended his own career, didn't he? It's like, fuck, man.
Yeah, bro.
He ended it, man.
He fucking murdered his own career.
Because Mersh liked him, didn't he? Mersh kind of liked him, and now Mersh loathes him. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, Mersh was giving him promo. Yeah. He was like, he could have gone to the cool kids table, and he you know what it is with some people, and I think it's like they have apathy. They don't want it enough. They're not hungry enough. You know what I mean? I want it. I'm fucking hungry. I want all of it, and then I want a bit more. You know what I mean? I want double cheesecake. I want triple cheesecake. Yeah. I want quadruple cheesecake. I want it. I want as much as I can have, or as much as I can handle. And I think with Karmik, he's just going to die of apathy. He doesn't want it enough. He doesn't have that balls. He doesn't have that drive. Like I said, whatever you say about Ralph, and I can't stand Ralph. I hope he has a fucking untimely end.
Yeah.
So no, I agree. You know what I mean? But he has it. He's hungry. Yeah, he's fucking hungry, man.
Karmik fumbled the bag on that one. Ralph recovered the fumble. He's capitalizing on it. He's taken over the whole Dabbleverse by storm. He's got this big thing going on at Hackmania. We're gonna marry Scarlett at the Vegas wedding. That'll get a lot of eyeballs on it. So he's definitely making positive moves to try to get his his pimp, whatever he's doing, his pimp career back on track 100%. And
he's an online animal, isn't he? He's an online animal. Yeah. He's made for the online world. And Karmik, he's not an online animal.
Yeah, he's
know what I mean?
Yeah. He's a survivor. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, Karmik to me seems like somebody with arrested development. Never quite matured. Never got the masculinity that. I guess he just needs to go through more in life. I guess I don't know. He seems like the 40-year-old virgin. Steve Carell in that movie, like, everything kind of seems kind of like that, kind of either too much or too little, or he doesn't quite get it, or there's this vacant look in his eye. It doesn't really connect. The synapses aren't really firing or something like that, which is a shame. Hey, you hate to see that. King Yeti says Ralph definitely went balls to the wall for Scarlett, 100%. And he says Karmik oddly makes Aaron Imholt look more manly. And Karmik holds his cigarettes like he has seen more peckers than a prison urinal. Oh man,
yeah, he's very feminine. He's very feminine in his mannerisms. You know what I've seen? He seems like, what it also seems like with Karmik, just to like round it up. He seems like, so you look at some people and they've taken a few beatings. You know what I mean? He talks like a guy that's never taken a beating.
Yes,
because he's always like he looks like a guy that's never struggled. Like he's never taken a beating. Everything's like just like he's just glided along. I don't know whether he's got money, he's got rich family or whatever, or he's got like some backing or something. But he always looks like he can glide. It doesn't matter whether he puts in a fucking bit of extra effort. He don't want it. You know what I mean? He's not hungry. It looks like he's never been down, or he's never taken a beating, or he's never missed a meal, or he's never worried about fucking rent or shit like that. People like that are hungry, man. They are hungry for it. They want it, and they'll give you like that. They'll give you that content like it's the last thing they're ever gonna do. You know what I mean? When I'm on stream, I always feel like I could fucking drop down dead tomorrow, or something could happen. Let's hope I go out on a decent stream, and I've given it my best. You know what I mean? That's how I always feel about it.
Yeah, Karmic feels like somebody to me who's been coddled, maybe, or there was no strong masculine influence in his life, and so he kind of tried to go down the path with least amount of pain, and he was coddled maybe by his mom or his grandmother or something, and never really got that masculinity to become a man. And in order to become a man, and every guy out there in the chat, you guys maybe back me up on this, James, back me up on this, you have to eat a lot of pain. You really do. To become a man, you got to eat a lot of pain. That's how you learn. How you observe the consequences of the natural world. That's what masculinity is. It's how understanding how to navigate the consequences of the natural world. That's why masculinity doesn't look good on women, because they always have men there to brace them so they never have to suffer the real consequences of the natural world. I don't care what you say. There's always 10 men ready to pick up every woman. Now, they might not be the 10 men that the woman wants. It could be some unattractive. It could be, it could be the Gunt down in Mexico. It could be Ethan Ralph. You don't want that. It could be somebody else that you're not attracted to, but that's the truth. It could be some Mexican guys that are day laborers. It could be whatever. No mean. I don't mean anything by that. It's just different social classes. Of course, every woman wants the top social class and whatever. And I even recognize I'm not really the top social class because, surprise, surprise, James, I'm not a multimillionaire. Okay, I don't have a Lamborghini out there. I got a couple of ravens at my door asking for peanuts. But that's how it works. And so, for a man to become masculine, and of course, it helps if his father can show him the way, can show him the lessons. But if he has no father, he should seek out a mentor, but also seek out to try to fail as much as possible to fail your way to success. Eating all that pain is going to help you mature as a man and develop your masculinity and, get on in life. And if any of the guys in chat have anything to say about what they view masculinity is, or how to transition from boy to man, which is a big deal. It's a big deal, people. Masculinity is the one thing that you have to have built into you to become. Whereas everybody else, a woman is born the way she is. You can be a boy and stay a boy. You could be an effeminate person. You could be asexual, as James said. But to become masculine, you have to build that into yourself or have it built into you. But that's just my take. James, do you have 2 cents on that, or are you ready to move on?
No, I just want to say that's why I like watching Mersh and Nightwave, because the one thing I crave in online culture is authenticity, and he's authentic. He talks about how he's not fucking perfect. He talks about how he's had hardship in his life. He talks about broken relationships with his father. You know what I mean? He's speaking from a position of authority. He's not trying to sell something that he isn't. He's not trying to tell you that he's had this gilded life. He's just a guy that pops on stream, got a really good relationship with his chat. They give him the money and the support, and they all take the piss out of these internet oddballs. And it makes for a really good, authentic stream. And that's the kind of personality I like. When you compare that to Karmic or Aaron Imhol, they come across as very inauthentic, just like a fucking avatar on the screen. You know what I mean? They could be anyone. They're just going through the motions. They're not really delivering you anything insightful, anything humorous, anything that is worth giving away your time and your money to watch. And that's the people that I gravitate towards, the people like Mersh, and the people that I want to distance myself from, like the inauthentic people. I think like Vito is inauthentic, Karmic, Aaron Imhol. Vito's talented. He always has been talented. He could be anything he wants to be, but he doesn't choose to participate. He chooses to be like a guy that is a spoiler, a guy that wants to trip over. That thing in The Simpsons. What is it? Is it Sideshow Bob?
Yeah.
Where he keeps stepping on the rakes.
Yeah.
That's Vito. He's a guy that constantly steps on all the rakes. People want to support him, they want to like him, they want to help him, and he keeps fucking like slapping them in the face. I think he should embrace this competition with you. He should do the interview, hand out the trophies. Do you know what I mean? It's a fun thing, and it will go a long way to maybe changing not everyone, but might change a few hearts and minds about you, and that can only be good for the future of your career on and offline. You know what I mean?
No, I
That'd be
completely.
my advice.
I completely agree, and I think this fame thing, however you want to say it, or popularity or whatever, it is a different thing than people think it is. Everybody that's on the outside that wants to be famous or wants to be popular, they have a fantasy of what it's like, but it's not like that. It just means that you have to deliver more. You're really, you have to deliver to the audience. It's like you're serving meals of entertainment to the audience, and that's a big pressure that you have to do. You have to pump that out. That's why it's better to base it on authenticity so you don't burn out. But like people who get famous and then they can't deliver, they get ridiculed for the rest of their life. And that's not a good position to be in. And that's where Vito finds himself in right now. That's why he has to reformat himself. That's why he has to have a Vito redemption arc. And I would say that not just about Vito, but about all of these, social engineering characters. Everybody that's self-aware on YouTube, especially like, a really good example is Charleston White. That's why I bring him up so much, is because he's actually done it. He's talked about this. He blew up. He controlled it. He went everywhere. He made millions of dollars. He went from zero to hero. He said he tried it the other way for 4 or 5 years, being a straight-laced, wore a bow tie, wore a suit, did all that stuff. He, was a champion for youth and for YMCA and for kids in juvenile hall, how to try to rehabilitate them. And he didn't pop off until he became an entertainer and then delivered what the fan base wants. So that when you become popular, you have to deliver what your fan base wants. Think for a moment about if you're in high school. There's a reason why the quarterback is the famous person in high school, because he's going out there to deliver the reputation of the high school. And he's actually fighting for the reputation of the high school in the football game every Friday night. And so with him rises the reputation or falls the reputation of the high school. That's why he's so popular. He has to deliver or he'll be ridiculed. Thoughts on that, James? Oh, hold on a second. Hold on a second, James. I dropped out your audio dropped out. I have to go ahead and put that back in there. Sorry about that, people. Let me get that real quick. I was doing my soapbox monologue there for a minute, and the audio just puttered out on old James right there, froze him up for a second. So we'll get him back, though. He's back. Say something, James.
Something.
All right,
James.
you're back. All right, what are your thoughts on that, James, if you had any?
I think no matter what you do in life, anyone in the chat, anyone online, no matter what you do, right, it's how you deal with pressure. There's all kinds of pressure in life. There's you get up and you have to perform. You have to somehow put food on the table. You have to somehow earn. And there's a level of pressure with that in every walk of life. And some people are really good at dealing with it, and others are not really good at dealing with it. And Vito has got he's got the fame that he doesn't want. You know what I mean? Maybe probably through his own fault and because of his own personality. He doesn't have a very likable personality. But the thing about that is you can always course correct and change. You don't have to continue with this persona, this online persona. You don't have to continue with this personality. You can be anything you want to be. You can project anything that you want online. You know what I mean? You could be poor and project the lifestyle of a millionaire if you want.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's
a Bugatti, like Miami.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can be a Vito doesn't help himself because he doesn't want to help himself. He just wants to be this antagonistic character. And I think deep down he's sad. He's a sad man, really. He doesn't want to be that. He wants to be like the Stone Roses song. He wants to be adored. He wants to be liked for all the right reasons. You know what he really wants? He wants people to say, Superkiller was amazing. We were wrong about you, Vito. That was one of the best independent comic books to hit the market in years. He wants that adulation. He wants that positive recognition. That's what he's striving for. And instead, he's acting like a sulky kid online and not participating in an extremely fun competition. Because think about it. There will be no fanfare for a James Grabham fan art competition. There's a bit of a fanfare for Vito because he's an infamous online personality within a niche community.
Yeah.
So he has a certain level of fame. And he always talks to people. Have you noticed that when people ever talk to him or get antagonistic, he rubs his fame in people's faces? Oh, yeah, I'm above you. I'm going to block you. Who are you? What have you done? Did you see how many views my video got? So he does love rubbing. He's kind of like, he's a little bit of fame and his little bit of success in people's faces. And that does rub people up the wrong way sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's not someone who wants to, like, you know, I'll put my hand out to people. You know what I mean? I'll try and lift a person up. I'll try and, like, find common ground. This is a guy who has an antagonistic personality and doesn't want to do that. I will try and find common ground with, like, my worst fucking enemy. If it means, like, you know, we can settle this shit, you know, I might be able to bring you in. I might be able to change a few hearts and minds. We want those views, don't we?
Yeah.
We want the live views. We want the overview. We don't want to make enemies.
Yeah.
We want to make friends. We want to grow. We want to be big. And don't forget, he's part of a duo. Imagine, right, if I was going out there, going on all these streams, right, going, fuck comics gay, fuck these comic book people. I fucking hate all of them. They're scum. And you've just been on stream with Ethan Van Sciver and I'm bad mouthing him 24/7. You know what I mean? You're trying to reach out and, you know, spread the gospel, and then I'll be there fucking kicking the door, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
kicking the doors in and slapping people in the face. He's part of a duo, so he has to work within a duo. You know what I mean? You can't be like, keep chopping dick off at the knees.
Chopping dick off. Don't chop your dick off, people. No, I think I think you hit the nail on the head there. I think ultimately, Vito had this fantasy of what fame was, and he had a desire for it, and he got the fame, and then he tried to build bigger because he thought that perhaps it was easy to do this comic book thing, and then it kind of blew up in his face, and he wasn't able to deliver, and now he's dealing with the negative aspects of what fame is, and it's a very psychological thing, and so he's realized that the only way to defend against it is to hide yourself. And to just try to poke holes in everybody's boats. If he can fail before he actually fails and make it look like he intended to fail, that's how he can control the situation and how he can kind of keep his fantasy alive or his imagination of what is actually going on. You're right, it's cognitive dissonance. But reality is that he is sinking his stone of popularity and his value. What he should do is re-engage, embrace this, take a couple of eggs on the face, no big deal. He did take $137,000 worth of people's money, and rightly so. He deserves some eggs on the face, James. He deserves a little bit of ridicule for not delivering yet. He should do whatever it takes to deliver so that he can, get out from underneath that. Right now, he's under social debt. He took $137,000 worth of people's money as a promise to deliver something, and he hasn't delivered that promise. He's under that debt until that promise is fulfilled. Whether he ever does it or he does it next week or whatever, the sooner the better, so he could get out from underneath that and start to rehabilitate his image. But if you're not ready to be famous, the worst thing you can do is become famous, because then the horseflies come and they eat you alive, bro. And I will say that I've experienced it on a small scale. I couldn't imagine experiencing it on a like a Hollywood scale, a big scale. But damn, yeah, you're right. All right, I'm
not smart. I'm not the smartest guy in the world, right? I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but I'm smart enough to know that you can't control your own narrative once you enter the online game.
Right.
People's perception of you is going to be what it is. You can't, you can change some hearts and minds, but you can't change all of them. You know what I mean? And like, he thinks you can control this fucking. The online game is vast. You cannot control the narrative, man. It's gonna eat you alive if you constantly worry about how you're perceived by people all over the world that have got an opinion on anything you do, whether it be a stream, a video, a piece of art. It's gonna come good, it's gonna come bad, it's gonna come negative, and you just got to take the rough with the smooth. No, that's how I feel.
No, I agree with you. And I think the best thing you can do is to be authentic. I mean, you can't project a character, a fake person all the time. And also, you get boring. People get tired of you if you're not multifaceted when you're streaming. So it's best if you're multifaceted. It's best if you're authentic as possible. Sure, you can have some character aspects in your performance, but you should be as authentic as possible so that your persona can be cohesive. Because as soon as your persona becomes uncohesive, rather, people are going to want to figure that out and pick at you. Then they're going to want to throw sticks and stones at you. Then they're going to want to unravel this big mystery of who is this person? Is he even real? Does he have a Bugatti? Is he one of these guys? So you should be authentic, but with a little bit of flair on it. Turn your personality up to an 11 or 12 just for that hour or two. Like you said, James, you can cast any kind of image you want to, but it has to be cohesive. It's better to be authentic so you don't burn out. It's better if you have fun and have a good time doing it so that you can actually deliver to your audience what you promise. You're not going to have an audience too long if you keep making promises and you keep breaking them, because then they're going to be like, fuck you, man, I'm going off somewhere else, And so let me jump down in the chat. King Yeti says, if Aaron didn't read 80% of his regular chat, he wouldn't have a show. Completely agree with that. Miami John says, you don't have a Bugatti. No, I don't have a Bugatti. Carrie C says, she found merch this way. Loves his multifaceted approach. Who else we got? Pat says he's got a Lamborghini, John. That's right. I got a Lamborghini out there. No, I got a couple Ravens. I got just standard stuff. Nothing crazy. Now, James, I wanted to switch gears a little bit and talk a little bit about this politics. We got a little bit of politics, and there was a really good interview last night. Tucker Carlson interviewed Professor Zhang from Predictive History, and we've talked about Professor Zhang a number of times. I watch his podcast quite a bit, and if you guys want to, go watch that podcast right there. It was pretty good. Tucker Carlson talked about a lot of things from a high level, and Zhang kind of laid it out for him. It's a lot of stuff that I have heard before, but it's a good summary. It's a good way to get into who Professor Zhang is. And a lot of people are saying that Professor Zhang is this and that and whatever, but, I try to listen to people and hear what they got to say. And then Zhang has been about 80 or 90% right, as far as I can tell. I disagree with him on a few things. He discusses how in the past, basically women ruled the world and there was less war. And I'd say, Professor Zhang, you don't know women too well. Them bitches are always at war. Ain't that right, James? If women rule,
maybe he's a Beyonce fan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who run the world, girls? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When did these women rule the world? I mean,
back in history, sometime they say that like the history got lost or whatever. But I don't see that being valid. I mean, if women ran the world, we'd be getting in wars because one country called the other country fat or had saggy tits or something like that.
Have you seen that Family Guy sketch where Stewie builds he puts what is it with Brian? He builds some kind of machine, and then the three women he wipes their memory, and he wipes the three women in it, Lois, the other two. He wipes their memory, and they just get in a fight straight away. They don't even bother asking their name, what's their job, where they come from, who you are. They're just pulling each other's hair out as soon as they see each other. So I think that's how it'd be if women run the world. You know what I mean? They'd all be pulling each other's hair out.
Yeah, I know. I completely agree with you with that. So that's one of the aspects that I disagree with Professor Zhang on. One of the things that he says is that the war in Iran is designed in order to drive oil prices up to $200 a barrel, making energy extremely expensive, pushing people towards electronic vehicles, destroying the international supply chain. Right now, we have an international supply chain. For some reason, we grow the best strawberries here in California, but we send them all out to somewhere else, and we import strawberries from Mexico. I don't know why the hell we do that. Hillbilly Harry can attest to that. There was some huge strawberry fields down in Carlsbad, in Southern California, down by San Diego. They have fantastic strawberries, just fields and fields of them. And you could go by there and buy, big boxes, big crates of them. And they're fantastic. They're about the size of a small apple. But we get all these.
Yeah, we import everything from Spain. We do the same. We export all of our stuff and import it from Spain. All our food and produce.
Exactly. We have up in Fresno. We have the best stone fruit orchards in America. Maybe they could rival the world. Maybe. And stone fruits being peaches, plums, nectarines. Anything with that seed in the middle of it. And they're fantastic, and we export those all over the world, and we get the shitty ones in from other places here. They're for the U.S. Market, and that it pisses me off so much. But Zhang is saying as the Strait of Hormuz is going to remain closed for a prolonged period of time, a number of years. They're going to stretch out this war. It was by design. It was what the World Economic Forum said when they said that people will own nothing and be happy. They're trying to get these autonomous vehicles. You see the Waymo vehicles out there, the self-driving vehicles that people are taking as cabs now. James, what are your thoughts on that? Is the war designed to push the oil high? They just recently bombed the largest refinery in Qatar. Why is Qatar being bombed? Israel apparently bombed Qatar for some reason. Israel's bombing other places, not even bombing Iran. Iran's leveling Israel. What's going on, James? Talk to me for a second.
Well, I noticed Donald Trump said the other day, he said he was angry with Netanyahu, didn't he? And he talked to Netanyahu, and Netanyahu's going to get into line. And what does Netanyahu do? Doesn't listen to Trump. Trump has lost control of the narrative. Trump has lost control of the war, like you said, with the Strait of Hormuz. And now with us, with the Diego Garcia got bombed. So we've had the bombing that was in not Greece, Cyprus. There was the bombing in Cyprus where we didn't react. And now there's been the bombing in the Diego Garcia. Now America has an interest in the Diego Garcia. You were going to use our ports to do a refueling, weren't you?
Yes.
But like we refuse to get involved in this war because of the 6 million Muslims that hold sway over key areas.
That's a good number.
Yeah, that hold sway in our country. And with the local elections coming, Yvette Cooper said, we're not going to get involved. So they bombed the fucking Diego Garcia, and it was Americans that shot down the drones. And Trump's saying, look, we're not going to help you anymore. If you don't help us, then we're not going to help you defend your interests. If you're not going to help us attack our interests. And our position has been, we're defensive, but we're not offensive. We will help the Americans, but very lightly. You know what I mean? We're so scared to get involved in this war because Iran got on the phone with Yvette Cooper and said, get out of the war. Do not get involved. Even defensive stuff, get out of the war. And when Yvette Cooper didn't do anything, they fucking bombed the Diego Garcia. And what was our country's response? Fine. We're not going to do anything. We're refusing to get involved because we're being held hostage by the people that now live in our country. And I think Donald Trump's finding that this is going to be a very unpopular, very costly war. He's lost control of MAGA. Is there even MAGA anymore? People are deserting it by the day. The coalition is breaking down. He's turning friends into enemies. And I think this is one of the things, you take your money and you pay your money and you take your choice. And Donald Trump was like the guy. And I think now you're going to find Republicans are going to be in opposition for a very, very long time. I reckon you're going to look at this will be like at least a 2-term, maybe like a 4-term Democratic presidency, might be Gavin Newsom and then someone after Gavin Newsom. Because I think if you don't have that coalition, Trump's destroyed it, hasn't he? He's destroyed that voting coalition that he built up because he's hurting middle America, isn't he? He's hurting people that you thought he was going to lift up. They're going back into poverty. So no, I think he's doomed.
I think you're right. I think he's betrayed his whole entire base. Nobody wanted to get into a war. We wanted the immigrants taken out of America. We wanted to stop all of the fraud like we see in Minnesota. We saw Nick Shirley come to California and expose all of the hospice fraud done by immigrants and other people, adult daycares. We want all that stamped out. How can we have, this debt when the majority of our money is going to fraud? How can that be? In California, our roads suck. Gavin Newsom's a piece of shit. He can't do anything right. He's a complete grifter, backed by the Gettys. And, Trump, I don't know what happened. He keeps blaming these other people like Jared Kushner. It seems like he can't think without Jared Kushner. Jared Kushner seems like he's his handler. That's kind of what it looks like to me. I know a lot of people said Jared Kushner's the next Epstein as far as like international connections and wielding of power brokerage. That sure sounds like what's going on. We got this Tucker Zhang podcast, and even in this Tucker Zhang podcast, you still have little things that Tucker says, like you're talking about, James, to try to relieve the social pressure to keep everybody still in this system. The system needs to be broken. There is no Democrat. There is no Republican. There's only one person who cracks the whip hard and the other person who says, oh, don't worry about it. You'll be fine. Get back out there and get whipped. That's kind of what it seems like. One person's whipping us. The other person listens to us when we cry and then tells us to get back out there and get whipped again. Why would Trump win in a landslide and then infuriate his entire base just to give it back in the midterms to these Democrats who are going to undo everything he's done by executive order? They're going to do their own thing now. So we're going to be right back in the thick of how it was with Biden and all this bullshit. And you know, they're even talking about doing lockdowns again, James. That we're getting a lot of lockdown talk because of the fuel shortage in Australia and Singapore, UK. And they're even making up meningitis. Like, didn't you say that in UK now they got this meningitis scare or something?
Yeah, they're saying it's the worst meningitis outbreak we've had in years. And I'm like, two people have died, and I think there's been 20 cases, and we're getting a lot of it at universities. And where Streeting's come out and said, right, vaccinations, mass
Oh
vaccinations.
my
The only
God.
way to control this is vaccinations and mass vaccinations. And he said, what I'm angry about is the fact that we didn't hit this hard sooner. If we'd have gone with mass vaccinations, you wouldn't have had this outbreak, or you wouldn't have had this death. So he's trying to like control the populace again, isn't he? And he's like, I'm surprised they haven't talked about some kind of like lockdown, because what happens is the kids break up, don't they, for like half terms and shit like that. And they come back into the areas, and then they're going to probably go, oh, but the elderly, or but this, or but that. You know what I mean? It's kind of like a control thing. And I think the thing that annoys me about Trump is I heard the other day, he said he's going soft on his immigration stance. Someone's got into his ear. Like you said, they play political ping pong. You know, they try to arrest it back, you know, to keep this like harmony and this balance. And like apparently Trump said they've gone too hard, too fast. They're going to have to pare it back. They're going to have to be softer, only target certain people, let other people slip through the net. So, like you're saying, he's going against these key tenants, these core tenants, and he's going against what the voters brought him in for. They want mass deportations. Why are you siding with the people that are against you, instead of siding with the people that support you and want you to take this action when you have all three levers of power? He's
Yes.
had for nearly coming up for 2 years, and he knows, doesn't he, right? After 2 years, he's going to lose the midterms in a landslide. He's had 2 years to really get things going, and he's done nothing. He hasn't. Has he enacted any major
No.
policy apart from executive orders? He hasn't done anything to, what he promised, and it's like then you get the complete erosion of trust. I hear like Tucker Carlson, he's like favorite, isn't he, for the Republican nomination? I've heard people say he's like the prime candidate, so it could be like Tucker Carlson versus Gavin Newsom or something. You know what I mean? It's a fucking
Yeah, I don't.
crazy.
I heard Tucker say he's never going to run. You know, I definitely think that Tucker is some way related to the CIA. He went to those elite schools. If you look back into his history, Pat says Jared is Trump's handler. She also says you'll hear 33 pretty soon. That's exactly right. Every time they use this numerology to communicate with each other, it's kind of like a code 4. If you guys know anything about like police chit chat, code 4 means everything's cool, everything's okay. They put the 33 out there to let everybody know that this is a run op. It's not real. It's all fake. You know, King Yeti says, like mass vaccinations helped last time. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Who's going to fall for this again? Will people fall for this again? It came out in the news that the mNRA vaccine actually had more risks and side effects than benefits. You got all these young actors dying in their 50s now. They all took the vaccine. They're dying of heart attacks left, right, and center. You got a lot of people having strokes, and they're underreporting how many deaths are occurring. Another thing that Professor Zhang brought up is that what's going on is that India is exporting their slave labor. That's what's happening. That's why we have so many Indians coming to Canada. That's why we have so many Indians coming to America. And that as this petrodollar collapses, you know, the global hegemony of America is going to collapse, and America will be forced to retreat into the northern hemisphere, and we'll actually consume Canada. It'll be the Greater America Project. We'll consume Canada, Greenland, and Mexico for all of their raw materials, and then we'll use Indian labor. You know, Israel right now was making a deal with India to use their labor, as was, you know, I think China as well. But that's very interesting to talk about. Monk Fruit in the chat, he says numerology. You're goddamn right. It's numerology. Keep your eyes out for that. I talk to people all the time. I say it doesn't matter if it's true or not. It only matters that these people believe it. They live their lives according to it. They do things based upon numerology. Right now is the season of sacrifice for those of you who don't know. And if you know, you know. He went on, Pat saying this, he went on to soft on deportation last year, talking about Trump, because we needed farmers and hospitality workers. Right. She rolls her eyes. Completely agree with that, Pat. We pay a good wage. People are going to want them jobs. We did it during the 40s. We did it during the 50s. We did it during the 60s. Then for some reason, Nixon opened up China to social special economic zones, and all of our factories went over there and fucked us all over. Who did they make rich? The factory owners, the big companies. What do the big companies do? The big companies then go and shelter their taxable income in other places around the world. They're not even, they're bigger than America now. They're not American companies anymore. Coca-Cola is not an American company. All of these other big companies no longer pay profits to America. They've gotten bigger. They've gone away. And now they're like an enemy state that's, wants the market of America, but doesn't want to pay the taxes, doesn't want to have their, jobs in America. So what do I say? I say, fuck those people, man. Get your woman back in the kitchen. If you're a single guy, you get in the kitchen, you learn how to cook, you make all your food at home. Quit eating this slop out and about. That's where it starts. Take back your independence, take back charge of your food. I know I said a lot there, James, and I got on my soapbox a little bit, but what are your thoughts on some of those things?
Well, one of the things when you were talking about, Brexit was the highlight of my political life. When I think about it, it was like the divorce from Europe was something that I was thrilled about. I didn't think we were going to win the vote, and then we won the vote. And what happened was successive governments failed to implement it to its full benefit. And we've dripped and give things back to Europe and give it back slowly, slowly, slowly. And we've become more integrated. And now Labour politicians, Labour mayors like Sadiq Khan are openly talking about a full reintegration of Europe. And I've long been convinced that the great plan is to have a United States of Europe and
Yes.
take away countries, take away individual countries, take away individual rights, take away flags, take away nationalities, take away national anthems, cultures, and traditions, and just have everything micromanaged from Brussels under the United States of Europe flag. Because they always talk about we need to erase our history and we need to fully embrace as a European culture. I think we're talking about a continent without borders where they can traffic, like you said, slave labor, they can traffic mass migration, whether it be Muslims, whether it be Indians, whether it be Africans, and it's all going to be coming into Europe and it's just going to be one big shit show. That's long been and I might even see it in my lifetime. You know what I mean? If I live another 20, 25 years, you know what I mean? I've long felt that I will die seeing the end of England and everything just being one United States of Europe.
No, I think you're 100% right. I think they wanted to basically divide the world into 7 zones and run those 7 zones. A lot of people have already talked about this. Bill Cooper was famous for talking about this on his he had his radio show, which was fantastic, and also in his book Behold a Pale Horse, which is very interesting. You guys can go ahead and get that on a PDF. Just look for that out there on the web. Behold a Pale Horse is a great book to read and to really understand what's going on with the world as it is, because what we're told is going on is not what's going on. A really good analogy to this is that if you go to Disneyland, there's 2 parts to Disneyland. There's the part that's, or Disney World rather, there's the part that's above ground, and then there's all these tunnels below ground. Disneyland above ground is for all of the visitors, okay? It's this fantasy world. Below ground, it's an industrial machine, bro, with moving parts and people working. They're taking their masks off. They're sending, the food from one part of the, one part of the fairgrounds or whatever to another part of the Disney World. And they're putting it up in elevators, up into the restaurants and all that kind of stuff. It's a big, huge moving machine that holds and supports this fantasy world of Disneyland that is up top, and the people that come and visit are la 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 la. They have no idea what's going on or what it takes to run this thing or the machine that's underneath it. And that's kind of how I feel like we are as a society. We're participating in this. Oh, let's go to Disneyland and vote for Trump or vote for this or vote for that. That's not how any of this shit works. There's a whole nother machine under the surface below, deep below. And you have these secret societies that pop up that kind of interface between the 2 worlds. And you see them. Of course, you see the Masons. You see these different groups like the White the what do they call them? The white secret societies, which are the introduction ones. They used to be like the Rotary Club or the Elks Lodge or these different groups like that. But that's how the world is. That's how it's situated. And when you start to break that fantasy, you start to see these things. You start to really understand why things work the way that they do and how the world moves. And you can actually make predictions on how the world's going to move. And it feels a lot better. It takes away the anxiety. It takes away the fear. So, consider that. Watch a little bit of Professor Chang. He does a really good job on predictive history of unmasking a lot of these things. James, I know I talked for a second there. What are your thoughts on any of those things?
Yeah, I've long felt that, sometimes you feel like you have no control over your own life, don't you? You're just part of something bigger and greater that you don't understand. People always talk about like an invisible hand or the men in grey suits or the power behind the throne when you talk about monarchy. And it's always like that. There's someone puppeteering what's going on because you can't go from one day we're not in a war, then we're in a war and everything turns to shit. You know what I mean? That's how badly things can change in 24 hours. There was no need for Trump to initiate this war with Iran, but someone got in his ear, and it all kicked off, didn't it? And then when you dig deep and you peel back the layers, Hegseth said a different thing why they started the war.
Yes.
Rubio said a different thing.
Yes.
Trump said a different thing.
Yeah.
None of them can keep consistency. None of them know why the war started. They just know the war started. You know what I mean? None of them really know why. And I've always thought with Donald Trump that he listens to the last person that gets in his ear. He's an incredible vain man. If you said to him, Netanyahu goes, let's start a war. You look gorgeous today, Donald. He'd fucking do it, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
He'd literally do it. He's like a guy that's easily controlled, isn't he? Easily manipulated. He's vain, that's how he found himself around people like Epstein. You know what I mean? Did you see? I always think back, when people say Trump wasn't involved, but do you know how pally they were when they were doing that little video and they were watching people dancing, weren't you?
Yep.
Did you see how close their relationship was?
Yeah.
That wasn't a relationship that was like, you know, just coincidence. They just met up. They were acquaintances. They were very close.
Facts.
They had a friendly relationship, like Epstein's relationship with Prince Andrew and Peter Mandelson.
God, yeah.
When you see them, they're sitting there in their bathrobes. I think Ghislaine Maxwell might have been taking a photo. They're having a nice breakfast or a brunch. And you can tell how pally they are and how they go back a long way and the connections that they have. And these people have a vast control and vast sway over our lives.
Yeah.
And there's nothing really that we could do about it other than suck it up and take it.
Well, you're 100% right. And if you look at even, the monarchy is the English monarchy, they're members of the Royal Order of the Garter. Look that up, people. That's a big deal. You just mentioned Pete Hegseth. He's got that huge Templar tattoo, the double cross with the cross on his chest. And he's asking for 200 billion for the war now. And if you know about the Templars, they were in the Middle East. They were in Jerusalem. Supposedly they rescued Jerusalem, but also they were the great bankers. They held the wealth, and they also started to worship the skull of the goat of Mendes, which is now famously known as the Baphomet. That's where the iconography for the Baphomet first originated, was through the Templars. That's a secret society. The Masons have an order, a degree of the Templar. There's a whole bunch of this stuff buried underneath the surface. And if you start researching it, you kind of get excited because you start to understand how all of this stuff comes together. It becomes crazy when you start to see it. And what I see, like James, what you just laid out, was the controlled demolition of the Western Empire. The West meaning Europe, the West meaning America, the West meaning Australia, New Zealand. All of these guys are cooked. They're reordering this, is what I'm seeing right now. They're reordering the monetary system by destroying the petrodollar, and they're reorienting everything. Petroleum, if people don't know, is not made from dinosaur bones. It comes bubbles out of the earth from how the earth makes it. It's a very, it's abundant. It's an abundant resource in America. And the people who first found it were the Rockefellers. And the Rockefellers were, back in the day, the first Rockefeller was actually a snake oil salesman. He actually sold fake herbal remedies and all elixirs and whatnot. And he found discovered oil, started consolidating the oil, and it was everywhere. Then he made up this lie that it was from dinosaur bones. So it's pretty crazy. We're coming up to the top of the second hour. We're going to wrap it up here pretty second. Let me, in a minute, James, think about your final thoughts. And if you got anything else to say, I'm going to jump down in the chat for a second. Jonah Sweet says, Professor Zhang is the man. Yes, he is. I agree with you. He calls it like he sees it. And I think he's calling it right for the most part. Jonah, fantastic entries into the draw veto contest. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. I think I just pulled one up a second ago of your cover that you just did, a la Spider-Man, a la, that fantastic Todd McFarlane after Spider-Man. Looked fantastic, bro. What else we got? We got Pat says the crazy stuff. Officers are saying that. Yeah, officers are saying exactly what we're talking about. King Yeti says we fucking don't need TSA. King Yeti, you're 100% right. TSA is a joke. It was a scam from the get-go. The people that they hired to do TSA, we all know, are social welfare recipients. They're flagrant party goers, whatever other kind of fun little acronym you want to use for that. Bullshit. Carrie C says, how about the Rosicrucians, or whatever they're called? Rosicrucians, the Order of the Rosy Cross, 100%. They're another secret society that goes lockstep with the Masons. They even have some crossover on some of their degrees. Go check that out. They predated the Masons, and so they're very interesting. The Order of the Rosy Cross, or the Rosicrucians, 100%. There's a super weird Catholic cult, Carrie C calls. I think you're referring to the Ninth Order that worships the 9 orders of hell. And it's really profound. It's a witchcraft kind of thing among the Jesuits. Maybe you're referring to the Jesuits.
Opus Dei as well.
Opus Dei as well. That's a good point. Yeah, there's a lot of shit going on with the Catholics. You got the Vatican built upon all of those catacombs with the skulls and the ley lines. And there's a lot of stuff there to dig through. We could go into that for hours. We'll have to get DJ John in here to talk about that. He says, DJ John, as a matter of fact, says, bro, I can't believe all these conspiracy theorists are watching Trump create a North American zone in real time and still support him. John, you're 100% right. It's the Greater America Project. They're creating that one unified North America, the Canada, the Greenland, the Mexico, the America. You know, Bush started it when he made that a 21-lane highway running right down through fucking Texas and created NAFTA to start this to kick it off, to start it. Monk Fruit says Rosicrucians, completely agree with you. Pat says Templars and Rosicrucians. John says the Greater America Project is here. Carrie C says so many weird culty groups. The funny thing about the weird culty groups, and however many of them there are, Carrie, they all join together. They all interlock at the top. As a matter of fact, Aleister Crowley is one of the first guys to kick this off in a big way. You got Helena Blavatsky that talked about it quite often. Alice Bailey talked about externalizing the hierarchy. They call it to this the Day of Aquarius. They infiltrated all of the media. They brought it through the media. And then they also, on the other side of it, as they go up through their cults or whatever their practices are, their final task is to start a cult of their own. That's why they all break off and start their own franchises, but they're all joined at the top. They don't look like it. They all have different names. They all do different things, but everything is run on sex magic. Everything is run on these rituals. Everything is run on these sacrifices, 100,000%. James, I know I spatted out a lot there. We'll have to get this in some other time.
Nice, all good, man.
But let's see. We got Carrie C. She says she prefers Jesus on time in my church, and my church is where I am. I do have a real church, but I'm a total goat, not a sheep. So my pastor is cool. All right. Yeah, don't be a sheep out there. Use your critical thought process. Make sure you navigate. The most important thing is being loyal to your family, doing what's best for your family. That's the most important thing. You have a father and mother, grandmother, grandfather. You have your own children. Do what's best for them. That's the unit that's going to go through these perilous times. I understand that you're a part of a church, Carrie, but I have been a part of many churches myself. And as soon as it gets hot out there, they scatter. They don't support. Maybe they support you for a couple of weeks, but it's your family who's going to be there through the years. All right, James, I know I said a lot, but what are your closing thoughts on all of this kind of stuff, and we'll get out of here?
Well, I was just picking up on something John said, but the conspiracy theorists have become the truth tellers, haven't they? Mm-hmm. Everything they were rambling about and spouting about for years, it's all come to fruition, has all become true. So I think you need a new cult. So buy a tracksuit and join the cult of Bruv. You know what I mean? That's the cult you want to join. Join the Ray Ray cult. Thanks for being in attendance. Another great stream, another one in the bag. If I don't see or talk to you, have a great weekend with your friends and family, and we'll be back at it on Wednesday.
Yeah. Everybody go follow James Domenico Graben 81 on YouTube. Let's get him some more likes, some more shares, some more follows. Let's kind of build him up a little bit. Follow him also on X, James Domenico Graben. Get him some more interaction, engagement over there. You know, James, you hit that spot on the head. Find like-minded people, buy a tracksuit, and join the cult. I know it's not a cult, but social movements have all those kind of characteristics. Now, the difference between a cult and a social movement is that a cult is based upon relative morality, meaning whatever the cult leader says is cool at that time is cool. It can change anytime. But what we're running is absolute morality, meaning that every man inside of his own heart can align to the North Star of truth and navigate on his own. He doesn't have to get controlled by other people. So let's fucking go. Everybody navigate by your own North Star. I'd like to say a special shout out to Carrie, to John, and to Monk Fruit. Thanks you guys for throwing in a Ko-Fi. I really appreciate it. Let's do another round of applause and round of the horn for you guys. You guys are the awesome people supporting this show today. Get out there, join the veto contest, kick some ass, and have a great weekend, everybody. Just have a great weekend. Let's go. James, let's get out of here, bro. Bruv.